俺は手札からマジックカード黒魔術のカーテンを発動。このカードはライフポイントを半分払うことで自分のデッキからブラックマジシャンを特殊召喚することができる。このターン俺はまだ通常召喚を行っていない。2体のモンスターを生贄に。現れろエレメンタルヒーローネオス。いけネオス。レベル1ワンショットブースターとレベル3トライクラーにレベル4デブリドラゴンをチューニング。集いし願いが新たに輝く星となる。光さす道となれ。シンクロ召喚飛翔せよスターダストドラゴン。俺はレベル4のゴブリンのバグと頑張らないと。オーバーレイ2体のモンスターでオーバーレイネットワークを構築。エクシーザス召喚現れろナンバーズ39希望ホープ。スケール1の星読みの魔術師とスケール8の時読みの魔術師でペンデュラムスケールをセッティング。これでレベル2から7のモンスターが同時に召喚可能。茹でろ魂のペンデュラム。天空に描け光のアーク。ペンデュラム召喚現れろ惜しくも美しく輝く二色のマルコ。ホットアイズペンデュラムドラゴン。
Yo, what up guys, it's your boy here, Yugi, giving you our very first top 5 for our channel. Yes, I was really excited to get to do this, and I wasn't really sure what top 5 I wanted to do first. Obviously this was one of the first ones I thought of doing, but I was just kind of being like I don't know if it was procrastinating or whatever, but yeah, so I asked Dylan from Clueless Gamers to help me out with that, and he suggested that I do this video first, so I'm giving him a shout out and, you know, go over to his channel, Clueless Gamers and Yugioh everything, to, you know, watch all his videos and stuff. Really great content. But yeah, so as you guys can see in the title, I'm doing things a little bit differently. Most people just write top 5, you know, like main protagonist, or top 5 this, top 5 that. And even though it's, I guess, more or less implied that it's more of a personal choice, most people get pretty sensitive, I suppose, when it comes to claiming the top 5 because they take it so literally. So what I'm doing to change that format is I'm calling it my top 5 favorite Yu-Gi-Oh protagonists. I chose the word favorite because I feel like when you use the word favorite, that's something that's more personal towards the individual, the person, it's themselves. And when I say my favorite, I want you guys to know I'm talking about my favorites. I'm not talking about that these are the top characters and why. That would be an actual top 5 list that, you know, I would list out the reasons as to why each character you know, is good for what reasons and why they would be lower. But in this case, like I said, this is just top 5 favorite Yu-Gi-Oh protagonists, so it's only the ones that I love the most from least to greatest. And yeah, so just keep that in mind. You know, try not to like be offended. You know, everybody has their own personal favorites of what they enjoy and what they like. Not everybody likes certain characters while others do like that character, you know, and vice versa. So, and as you can see in the title, it's called top 5 favorite Yu-Gi-Oh protagonist Judai version, which means it's my opinions and my version. And later on in the future, whenever that time comes, I'm gonna ask my friend Robbie, who plays as Yusei Fudo on this channel, I'm gonna ask him to list his top 5 main protagonists as well, and he'll give his opinions as to what he thinks of, and maybe I'll ask some of my other friends, and then they can all give their own personal top 5s and stuff like that. But yeah, so stay tuned for that in the future. I don't know when that's going to happen, but either way, hope you guys enjoyed this top 5. Once again, this is my top 5 favorite Yu-Gi-Oh protagonist. Alright, so my 5th choice here is the king of games himself, Yugimoto /Atem. Yes, I know, How could you put Yugi as 5th? He's the original king of games. The first series is the best, blah, 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 blah. Yes, I know, Yugi is a very iconic character in the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise, but that doesn't mean I'm going to overlook the flaws that these two characters have. The main flaw being Atem. Yugi was highly overshadowed because of Atem's storyline. He took part in like 98% of the duels. Yugi didn't have too many moments to shine, which doesn't make sense because Yugi was supposedly supposed to grow through Atem's influence, but they very rarely focused on his growth at all. It was only at the very end of the series when he faced Takora and then Atem himself that he finally received the character development we were all hoping he would get or should have gotten. It simply just took too long for Yugi to grow. It didn't feel like they were both the main characters, but instead felt like Atem was the only character, while Yugi was a side character. I personally don't like that. I know people are thinking that Atem was dueling, but Yugi was the one thinking of all the moves, which means you're probably thinking of the dubbed. Sorry to say, but the dubbed isn't the true way these two characters were supposed to be represented. In the dub, they made it seem like Yugi was the one doing all the thinking and strategy building, while Atem was the one physically dueling because Yugi didn't have enough confidence to handle himself. The truth is, in the sub, Atem was the only one thinking and dueling, which means Yugi was pretty much doing nothing. Now sure, Yugi would talk to Atem from time to time during duels, but Yugi didn't play much of a role in duels. Sometimes he would come for either moral support or stop Atem from making a big mistake. Yugi just didn't do enough as his own character, and I just didn't feel like the friendship and growth was represented well enough. Now don't get me wrong, I love Yugi and Atem, they will always hold a special place in my heart. I am also not saying that I hate Yugi or that he's a terrible character, because that's false. He's just not one of my personal favorites because of how they poorly, in my opinion, I felt handled these two characters as a team. But these are just my personal feeling towards it. Okay guys, so 4th on my list is the new guy on the block, Sakahi Yuya. This was a tricky one for me because I actually don't dislike Yuya at all, or think that he is a bad character. As of recently, I've really started to grow attached to Yuya as a character, especially since the last few episodes of Arc 5. He's really owning his style of dueling and is confident in his abilities. Somewhere in the middle of the series, he started to become a little bit annoying because he was trying to show his entertainment style dueling, but he kept failing because he would let his anger take control of him. In the beginning of the series, he would always try to make everyone smile, but every time he was about to lose or wasn't in the lead, he would get really depressed and lose faith in himself. Hell, even during the Synchro arc, Yuya learned the same lesson like 2 or 3 times. But where we are now in the show, Yuya has finally gotten in control of himself, knows exactly who he is, and is finally accomplishing his goal of making everyone smile. His entertainment style dueling has become so amazing to watch, and I just really love his character. I can't wait to see how Yuya's story closes by the end of the series. But even with how much I love his character, the next 3 characters mean even more to me. Yes, my 3rd choice is Yusei Fudo. As everyone knows, Yusei is a badass character which never loses and barely shows any emotion. He had to at least make my top 3 because he is a really cool character with one of the best designs. He has a cool deck, a cool D-wheel, and a really cool backstory. There weren't really too many issues with Yusei. Well then, why isn't he higher on the list? Well, because he's too perfect, honestly. He's pretty much almost an untouchable character in the show. Many people love Yusei a lot, and that's what's annoying. They stop loving other characters because Yusei is such a badass. Now I know this is not everyone, but it just annoys me. I don't like the fact that the writers keep on making him win all the time. Then when he's about to lose, they make it so that he wins the duel or gets interrupted for a stupid technicality. What's wrong if Yusei loses once in a while? I don't know. He doesn't have to win every duel. Not all of his duels are life or death. It's just something that irritates me about how they wrote his character. Also, this is more of a personal thing, but I just wish they showed more moments when Yusei was actually smiling. I'm not saying he never has enjoyed himself while dueling, but it just didn't feel like enough for me. I just personally love the characters that express their love of the game while they are dueling and just have more of a personality in general. But regardless, I still love Yusei, and this is why he's my 3rd favorite character. Alright guys, so my second choice is the fourth main character of all the different Yu-Gi-Oh series, which is Yuma Tsukumo. What?! Yuma beat over Yusei and even Yuya? I already know this is going to be a very unpopular choice for me, but someone has to publicly defend Yuma's character, because in all honesty, he's really a great character. So while watching Zexal, I really started to fall for Yuma's character, and by the end of it, I couldn't ignore how much of an impact he had on me. I loved his lovable personality, his passion for dueling, and respect for all the people he considers his friend. He is the most loyal friend that you will ever have, no matter how much pain and suffering you may put him through or how many times you reject him as a friend, he will stick by you no matter what. He never gives up on anyone, no matter how evil they may seem. Yuma has the biggest heart I've ever seen any main character have. And yes, I know technically every main character cares about their friends, but Yuma is the only character that I ever felt actually cared the most. He's the type of person that if you are about to fall to your death, then he will die with you, just so that you don't feel alone. Yuma has done this for so many characters in Zexal, and is completely selfless. I wish I had a true friend like Yuma. His never giving up spirit is amazing, as well as his passion for dueling and his belief that dueling shouldn't be used for hatred or evil, but to make friends. Which is why whenever Yuma duels someone, he instantly respects you and thinks of you as his friend. Whenever I think of Yuma and all that he's done for other people and all the pain he had gone through, I can't help but get really emotional. Not to mention his growth as a duelist. He started out as the worst duelist ever and became an amazing duelist through the help of Astro. I feel like Yuma is the most relatable character because we all start off as a bad duelist when we first pick up the game, and when we face other people who have played for much longer, we get destroyed left and right. But once you have your friends to help you out and get some practice, you start to handle things on your own. Then you actually start winning duels on your own. Other characters like Yusei, Yugi, or even Judai, who start off the series already being these amazing prodigy duelists, is bull and completely unrealistic. Who here started off being the best? Yeah, exactly, not too many. Alright, so now that we are done with Yuma, let's talk a little bit about Astro, since he's also the main character of the show. Yuma and Astro I've always considered to be the remake of Yugi and Atem's relationship. Just like Atem, Astro needs to recover his memories and needs Yuma's help to get them. Astro starts off as a great duelist with hardly any emotions and no emotions at all, and always wants to win. Yuma and Astro's relationship is great because they didn't like each other at all and had a very difficult time even talking to each other. Their friendship grew slowly and gradually, but their bond became so much greater than I feel Yugi and Atem's relationship was. It just felt a lot more natural to me and more realistic in a way. You can really tell the influence Astro and Yuma have had on each other. Astro helped him become a better duelist, and Yuma helped him become more compassionate and more human. I'm not trying to bash on Yugi or Atem, I really like them, but I just feel like their relationship could have been done a little better. And that's what I think Yuma and Astro's relationship were, a slight upgrade from the original main characters. Astro and Yuma's friendship goes through many trials, and their bond goes far beyond what I feel Yugi and Atem did. Instead of it being Atem having all the screen time with Yuma and Astro, it felt more like a partnership. I won't go further into detail with why I love Yuma and Astro as a main character, because it could go on and on. Their friendship is just amazing to me. At one point, Yusei was my second favorite character, but then Yuma came and he instantly took Yusei's spot, and Yusei moved to third place. And finally, my first choice, my absolute favorite character, is my main man, Yuki Judai. Judai is the most fun character to watch. There's a really emotional reason as to why I love Judai. There was a point in my life when I had quit the game and the show. I had no friends to play with anymore, and I was getting sick of the first series because I was waiting for new episodes and they kept repeating the same episodes over and over again. I just got sick and bored, so I put all my cards in a box and put them on the top of my closet forever. So for an entire year, I didn't touch the cards or even watch the show. Then one day, I was looking for something to watch on TV, and they were giving Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I didn't know what this was, but I wasn't interested in watching it at all since I quit the game, and there was no reason for me to watch something that I don't play a part in anymore. But there was nothing else to watch on TV, so despite how I felt, I put on GX and I stayed watching. The first episode I watched was episode 3, when Judai dueled Alexis for the first time, and I really liked it. Slowly I kept watching more episodes and I was hooked. I loved Judai so much. He was cool, fun, and his deck was awesome. A superhero deck, come on, how could I refuse? From then on, I was a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh once again, and I even started buying the Duelist packs for Judai and Manjomi. And from that moment on, Judai was my favorite. If it weren't for Judai, I wouldn't be here today. This channel wouldn't be alive. I wouldn't have met some of my closest friends and had some of the best times of my life. This game brought me so much joy in my life, and Judai made me love dueling again. Judai always believed that you should always have fun while dueling, and I always did. His innocent soul, lazy, laid-back attitude, and energetic spirit kept exciting me more and more. There's no better way to describe him than by saying he's just fun to watch. On top of all this, the character development he got in the last 2 seasons were absolutely amazing, and Judai is probably one of the most well-developed protagonists out of all of them. Judai in Season 3 had some really great character development for him. I mean, having to deal with the loss of his friends because of his recklessness, and realizing that he's been dueling for fun this whole time while everybody's telling him that he duels selfishly because he only duels for himself, only duels for fun, while other people have reasons to duel, like for, family member, or for whatever other reasons. And, this was an internal struggle within Judai for quite some time during Season 3. And eventually, Judai just was acting all on his own without really being considerate of his friends. He wasn't really aware that he had this incredible power to make people follow him. He's a leader, but he doesn't realize that he's a leader. So his friends are like following him to other dimensions, and because of him being reckless and going over there, not realizing that the impact that he has on people that make them want to follow him, they get into a lot of trouble, and they eventually their lives get lost. And that's when Jaden succumbs to darkness after that, and he becomes the Supreme King, in which 2 of his other friends that are left over have to go and try to awaken him from this darkness. And it just becomes a very emotional story for Judai, having to hear all the things inside his mind that were telling him all the mistakes that he's made and how selfish he is and all that stuff. And it was really getting to him, and he couldn't awaken from that darkness even after he dueled Jim, and even during Axel's duel. Like, it was very difficult to get Judai back, but through the tie they finally awoke him. And after that, having to deal with the guilt that he killed not only his friends unintentionally, but also killed 2 of his friends intentionally while he was the Supreme King, along with hundreds or thousands of other dual monster spirits that were in that other dimension. So he caused a lot of harm. He killed so many people. So his guilt inside of him is strong, and he's afraid of that darkness inside of him. And while he's dueling, he's afraid of dueling because he's afraid of the damage that he's going to do. He's afraid to use polymerization because he used that card for evil, and he used it to kill so many people. And it's just sad to watch Jaden go through all that, and you can really understand and feel his sentiment for how he feels. The guilt is incredible, and he just has great development, and finally coming somewhat into grips with that. And then in Season 4, he practically became a brand new person, and he kind of was, he basically ignored his friends and kind of stayed away from them because he was worried that if he stayed by their side, if they were around him, that he would cause them more harm. So he just did whatever he could to stay away from them. He was kind of being rude in a way, I suppose. And it was just very hard for him. And finally with that final duel with Yugi, that probably happened in a dream, or either did happen or didn't happen. Either way, he finally got his spirit back and finally was able to enjoy dueling again like he used to. He realizes more that sometimes this game isn't fun. There's a lot of crazy stuff that happens because of this game, but ultimately in the end you have to try to have fun with it somehow. You still have to try to have fun, and that's kind of the big message with Judai and the struggles that he went through. That's why he's a really great character. He's just so well developed. Judai represents my spirit in this game and represents the love and passion I feel in my heart. If it wasn't for Judai, you wouldn't be watching this video right now. That's why he's my #1 favorite Yu-Gi-Oh character of all time. So that's the video for you guys. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. I worked really hard, coming up with the script, trying to make sure that I listed out the reasons why I liked certain characters and why some are higher and some are lower. All the characters are great. They're all amazing. Obviously, none of the characters are perfect. They all each have their very own flaws. So try to take this with a grain of salt. These are just my opinions. These are my personal favorites. I'm not saying that any one of them is better than the other. I'm just saying which ones I felt more connected to, and therefore, made them my favorite. And, those top 3, they were my favorite. And I kind of hated that I had to put Yuya 4th place because I really am loving his character now. But the other 3, I just can't help it. They mean a lot to me as well. And obviously, I didn't want to put Yusei 4th place. I know people would have gotten really kind of butthurt, I suppose, with me putting him in 4th place if I were to do that. And I wouldn't want to put him in 4th place anyway because he was a really great character. He was just really cool and badass, and I can't deny that. And he came from a great series. 5 Years was a great series. It was a lot of fun making this list. I didn't really get into any details of like how they played compared to their series because I felt like that wasn't really all that important to me. I felt like I should just focus mainly on the characters and what I thought of the characters and why I liked them and didn't like them, rather than comparing them to how they were in the show or the impact that they had or this and that. I just felt like adding my own personal feelings towards it, and I felt like I did a pretty good job. I hope you guys enjoyed. For sure. I'll definitely be doing more top 5s in the future. This was a lot of fun. I hope you guys really enjoyed my very, very first top 5. Once again, this was offered by Dylan from Clueless Gamers or from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything. So, go to his channel. This was actually inspired because of one of his top 5s where he did his first top 5 protagonists. He has a bunch of other top 5 videos on his channel. So, please go watch that. That was a really fun and entertaining video to watch, his top 5. So, it's much appreciated. Thank you guys for watching. God bless you guys. I appreciate everything that you guys have done for me and for all your support. And we're going to keep doing our best for you guys. Gotcha!